everyone. So for today's practice, we're going to be focusing on opening up the muscles of the chest and the shoulders. So this is going to help with posture, and it's really going to help with increasing the capacity of our lungs to breathe. So when we're rounding forward, when we have this rounding in the spine and we start to compress into the chest, we really limit the ability of our diaphragm to be able to float down out from underneath the rib cage and really allow the space for the lungs to open up. So we're going to work on that today. You're going to need 2 blocks and a wall. So if you don't have wall space, feel free to just follow along with your feet on the floor, and let's go ahead and start. So legs up the wall to begin with, sliding maybe one of your hips up against the wall, and then sliding the legs on up. And just find a place where you can be comfortable here. So we don't want to lock out the knees, so maybe softly move the legs side to side, relax the knees a little bit. And then just find a place where you can comfortably rest your arms alongside you, palms facing up. Now let's shrug the shoulders up towards the ears. Roll the shoulder blades down towards the floor. And maybe finding just a little bit more space now for the arms to move further away from you. And now lifting the head, tucking the chin, and laying the head back down. So we really begin with this nice length in the spine. Allow the eyes to close if they're not already. And begin to observe the breath. Noticing the depth and the pace of the breath. Noticing even if the breath is starting to feel considerably more effortless than when we were sitting up. From this position of our spine here, we've given our diaphragm the ability to float more freely up and down. Beginning to relax the muscles of the face. Making sure the legs feel heavy. Noticing the sensation of the breath as it enters and leaves the nose. Feeling maybe a swirling sensation in the back of the throat as the breath travels in and out. And feeling free to bring a light constriction to the back of the throat and creating this really subtle, audible quality to the way that we're breathing. Noticing the gentle lifting and lowering of the shoulders. Noticing the ribs expanding and contracting. Take just a moment here in your mind's eye and imagine that as you draw your breath in, the lungs are only filling to about 1/3 of their capacity. And now on your next breath in, see if you can completely fill the lungs from bottom to top. And then softly let that breath go. Noticing the feeling of the belly rising at the very end of that inhale. Relaxing and softening as you let all of the breath go. And staying very present with the quality of the breath, let's begin to place a bend in our knees and reach for one of your blocks. And let's take that block and place it between the either inner knees or inner thighs, the most narrow way. And then bring the arms right back alongside the body. Softly begin to squeeze the block between the inner knees. And this is just going to add a little stability for us. We're going to take some bridge lifts. When you're ready, press the feet into the wall. And as you inhale, slowly begin to peel your spine up off the floor. As you exhale, softly lowering back down. And see if you can stay steady here as we continue this movement. As you inhale, rise up, trying to keep the spine, the hips from swaying. As you exhale, softly lowering back down again, one vertebra at a time. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, lowering down. And just go to that place that feels comfortable for you. So if that means you're only lifting about an inch off the floor, that's perfectly fine. If you can peel up to maybe your upper back here, also good. And just go to where it feels good for you. Maybe even feeling, if you've been really tight in the back of the body, feeling a gentle massage up the sides of the spine, the erector muscles that support our spine. Getting a nice massage here. And now if we'd like to add in just a little bit more, as you inhale, we can start to move through the shoulders. So bringing the arms all the way up and overhead. As we exhale, all the way back down. So if you're starting to feel fatigue in the low back, you can keep doing this. Just make sure that you're not feeling any pain. Those places where we start to feel fatigue first is just our body letting us know the weaker spots that we need to work on. Let's take 2 more repetitions. One more. Good. And as you lower down, release the block from between the knees and just give yourself a squeeze, maybe rocking side to side if that feels good to you, or rounding in, bringing the forehead towards the knees. And extend just your left leg back up the wall now. Keep holding onto your right knee or your right shin and flex your right foot. And how about starting to just move into your ankle? So pointing and flexing the ankle. Feel free to roll the ankle in little circles. And now cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Take your left thumb into the crease of your left hip and just encourage the left hip crease towards the wall. And then open and close that right knee without allowing the pelvis to shift. So just finding that movement in the hip joint on the right side. And the next time you open the hip up, keep it to where you feel like that's enough. And then begin to slide your left heel down the wall, placing the sole of your left foot right against the wall. Go ahead and release the thumb from the crease of the hip. We're just going to hang out here for maybe 6 or 7 full rounds of breath. And see if you can again bring your attention to the rhythm of the breath, the depth of the breath, feeling the lungs completely fill with air as you draw the breath in. And as we begin to settle into this pose, you might notice that more space opens up. So feel free to take the left heel a little bit further down the wall if you have the space. Let's take about 3 more full rounds of breath here. Slowly release the left leg back up the wall, uncross the right leg, and just take a moment to observe any changes, any feelings of circulation, or just a little bit looser in one side than the other. Now hugging just the left knee in towards you, flexing that left foot, and then finding movement in the ankle joint, so feel free to point and flex the foot, or roll the ankle around in little circles. Good. And then when you're ready here, crossing that left ankle over the right thigh, we'll take our right thumb into the crease of our right hip and push the right hip back. And now just open and close that left knee, finding some really subtle movement in the hip joint on the left side. Next time we take the knee open, begin to drag the right heel down the wall, release that right thumb from the crease of the hip, and just find that spot that feels pretty good to you that you can settle into, releasing both arms down to the mat or the floor. And just close your eyes, noticing your breath again. Now that we've been here for a few breaths, maybe beginning to drag the right heel down just a little bit further. Let's take about 3 more breaths here. Final breath. And then release the right leg up the wall, uncross that left leg, close the eyes and just tune in again. Notice how it feels. Good. And then we're going to drag both feet down the wall again. Grab hold of your block and place it once again between your knees the narrow way. And then bring your arms out to a goalpost shape. So about a 90-degree bend in the elbows, backs of the hands on the floor to begin with. And now we're actually going to roll over to our left side, keeping that block between your knees. So roll all the way onto your left side and bring your right hand on top of your left. And then from here, keeping the knees together, as you inhale, open the chest. So we're going to roll the upper back towards the floor, maybe gaze towards that right hand. And as you exhale, close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. And this next time, as you inhale and open up, go to that place where you get stuck. For some of us, that means the arms hovering off the floor. And just rest into this. If the arm can rest on the floor, let it rest. Turn your gaze as far to the right as is comfortable. And see if you can just relax into this. We're going to take about 5 breaths here. Noticing that space between the arm and the chest, getting a nice deep stretch. Noticing as we breathe in, again, the lungs filling with air. Take just one more breath here. And now turn your gaze to face up towards the ceiling and bring the knees back through center. And now we're just going to take the knees in the opposite direction. So rolling over onto your right side. Bring your left hand to rest on top of your right hand. As you inhale now, open that left arm up. Maybe gaze in the direction of the left arm. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. And this last time here, as you inhale, open up, take your gaze towards that left arm, and just let it relax. So I know for some of us, the arm's hovering up in the air. If it's comfortable, just let it hover there. You could also take your second block and place it underneath your arm for more support if you need that. And we'll take about 5 breaths here. Letting the upper back get a little heavier, letting the shoulders relax just a little bit more. And taking just one more breath. And slowly rolling back over onto your right side. And we're going to come all the way up to hands and knees. So just set the blocks to the side for now. Come up to hands and knees. And let's find our way to a child's pose. So bringing the big toes to touch, knees out wide, extending the arms out in front of you, and relaxing the forehead, maybe down on the floor. And again, begin to notice the breath. So the entire practice, noticing either the effortlessness or maybe the challenge of breathing in each position we're in. Just taking one more breath here. And as you inhale, rise back up to hands and knees, table pose. Let's take a few rounds of cat-cow. So remembering, as we exhale, we're tucking the tail, rounding the spine and dropping the head, maybe even tucking the chin towards the chest. As we inhale, the belly falls, the gaze lifts, and the shoulders draw down and away from the ears. Exhale, round the spine, drop the head. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Good, let's do just one more. Round the spine, drop the head. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Good. And now come back to neutral, and we're going to use the wall again. So measure your distance between your back leg and the wall. We want to be able to extend the leg so that the foot is on the wall and the leg is straight. So just find that distance and then bring that knee back down to the floor. All right, we're going to start with the left side. So let's take our left hand and slide it back behind us so that our left palm is facing our left hip. Press into your right hand, breathe. And just stay here for a few breaths. Good. And now, without shifting the rest of the body, take your left arm forward, thumb facing ceiling. And just really starting to feel that sense of engagement in the core. Maybe squeeze the navel in towards the spine just a little bit more. And now we'll take our right leg back to the wall, place the sole of the foot right against the wall. Make sure that the toes are pointing down towards the floor. Keep pressing that right hand into the mat. And now push your left foot into the wall and imagine dragging your right toes down to the floor. So feeling just a little bit more engagement here, breathe. How about 3 more breaths? Good, release the left hand, the right knee back down to the mat. As you inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. As we exhale, round the spine, drop the head. Inhale, come back through center. And now let's take that right hand to face the right side of the hip. And just press into that left hand. Find some stability in the left shoulder. So maybe imagine dialing that left thumb forward. Keep breathing. Good, now take that right arm all the way forward, thumb facing ceiling. Now left leg will come back behind us. Plant the sole of the left foot right against the wall and push into that left foot as you imagine dragging the wall down towards the floor. We'll feel that whole entire core wake up here, all the way around. And then when you're ready, release the right hand, the left knee back down to the floor. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale, round the spine, drop the head. Slowly come back up through center. Good. Now we're going to take our left foot between our hands. If you want to here, you can certainly grab hold of your yoga blocks and place one underneath each hand. Walk the right knee back in space, maybe a few inches. And then just kind of settle in here. See if you can settle into the hips just a little bit. Notice how it feels on the hip flexors on the right side. And now press into your left foot, and as you inhale, come all the way up to this nice low lunge. Good, breathe. Now take the left arm back behind you, right arm forward, gaze back towards that left hand. Inhale, bring both arms back up through center. Pivot your right toes to the long edge of your mat and open the arms up. So a kneeling warrior two here. And bend a little bit deeper into that left knee. Reverse warrior. Take the right arm down, the right leg, left arm reaches all the way up and over. Inhale, come back through center and take your right arm behind your back, seeing if you could potentially even find the crease of your left hip. See if you can pin your right shoulder back, and now drop the left arm to the left thigh for this kneeling version of side angle pose. Keep rotating the right shoulder back, and at first just kind of gaze over your right shoulder. Good, keep the right shoulder back, and now look down towards your left knee. Keep breathing. Good. Keep peeling that right side of the waist back. Release the right arm from behind your back. Swim it all the way up and over the right ear. Good. And now come back to that warrior two variation. And as we exhale, swim the hands down to your blocks or the floor and take the left knee back to meet the right knee. Good. And now we're going to do the same thing other side. So let's just bring that right foot up between the hands or between the blocks and drop the left knee back in space an inch or so. Good, and again, just start to settle into the hip flexors on that left side and breathe. Good, and now pushing into that right foot as you inhale, rise up. Nice low lunge here. Make sure you're breathing. Now taking right arm back behind you, gaze in the direction of that right hand. Good. Inhale, come back through center. And as you exhale, pivot the left toes to the long edge of your mat. Arms come out to a T. So this fun variation of warrior two. Reverse warrior, left arm down that left leg, right arm reaches up and over. Come back through center, extend the arms out. Now taking the left arm behind the back, again, potentially finding the crease of that right hip. Peel the left shoulder back. And now let's take the right arm to the right thigh and gaze over the left shoulder here at first. A kneeling variation of our side angle pose. Good, and now look down towards your right knee. Keep peeling the left shoulder back. And just a few more breaths here. One more breath. Inhale, release the left arm, swim it all the way over the left ear. Inhale, come back up to warrior two. Exhale, take the hands back down to the floor or those blocks. Slide the right leg back to meet the left. And let's take a child's pose. Big toes touching, knees out wide, dropping the forehead down towards the floor. Good. Inhale, rise back up. All right, so we're going to do that one more time, maybe a little bit more dynamically. So we'll start with bringing the left foot up between the hands. Walk the right knee back just a little bit. Press that left foot down. Inhale, arms rise all the way up and overhead. Exhale, bring the left arm back, right arm forward. Maybe take a little back bend if you want here. Inhale, bring both arms back to this grounded version of crescent warrior. And then exhale, kneeling warrior two. Peel that right foot back. Reverse your warrior. Right arm down the right leg. Left arm reaches all the way up and over. Inhale, come back through center. Take the right arm behind the back. And as you exhale, left arm to left thigh. Right arm stays behind the back. Keep peeling that right shoulder back. Maybe gaze over the right shoulder. And feel free to lean into this one a little bit more if you want to. One more breath. And as you inhale, release the right arm all the way up and over that right ear. And exhale, back to kneeling warrior two. Swim the hands down to the floor. Slide the left leg back. And this time we're going to lower all the way down to our bellies. So the hands are going to stay underneath the shoulders. Go ahead and drop the forehead to the floor. Squeeze the elbows in here. Press the hip points down towards the floor. And slowly begin to lift the head. Maybe peel the shoulders, the chest, hug the elbows in. If you have the space and want a little bit more, feel free to press the hands into the mat and lift the chest into Cobra Pose. Think about peeling the sternum forward, gaze is forward. One more breath. Exhale, lower down. Good, push back up to hands and knees. And now we'll take the right foot up between the hands. Take the left knee back maybe a few inches so that there's an angle from the knee to the hip. Push into that right foot. Inhale, swim the arms all the way up and overhead. And exhale, take the right arm back behind you. Maybe a little back bend if you took it on the other side. Good. Inhale, come back to grounded crescent. Exhale to that kneeling warrior two, pivot the foot. Reverse warrior, left arm down the left leg, right arm reaches up and over. And as we exhale, bring the right arm to the right thigh. Left arm behind the back, maybe finding that crease of the hip. Peel the shoulder back. Taking a few breaths here. Again, feeling free to deepen into this one if you want to. Release the left arm all the way up and over the left ear. Inhale, rise back up to grounded warrior two. Exhale, take the hands down to surround that right foot. Slide the right leg back to meet the left. And again, we're going to lower all the way down to our bellies. Inhale to Cobra Pose as soon as you're ready. Maybe baby cobra. Maybe that full variation there. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. And just take one more breath here, gazing forward. And lower down. Press back to hands and knees, and then once again, let's take that child's pose. Inhale, rising back up, And let's slide the legs out to one side or the other. Come to a seated position. So feeling free to just cross the legs. I'm going to start with my right leg in front. You can do the same if you want to, or just do whatever's comfortable. And just take a moment here and close the eyes. Relax the shoulders. And just take a moment here to observe our posture. And sitting up nice and tall. Good. And then blinking open the eyes. Now take your right hand next to you, about in line with the hip. And we're going to rotate it around so that our thumb is facing out. And lean as far over to the right as you need to so that you can get this whole palm on that right side touching the floor. And now as we inhale, that left arm is going to swim all the way up and over the left ear. As you exhale, bring the left fingertips down, drop the left ear towards the left shoulder. Inhale, left arm lifts up and over. Exhale, left fingertips down, left ear towards left shoulder. We'll do that just one more time. Inhale, left arm lifts up and over. Exhale, drop the left fingertips down, left ear towards left shoulder. And now push your right palm into the floor and imagine dialing your right thumb back. And we get this really nice stretch, as awkward as it might look, in the front of the chest on the right side and the right arm. So this is getting into that brachial plexus and really finding just a little bit more freedom here in the chest. See if you can let the left ear get just a little bit heavier. Good. Now lifting the head back up. Inhale, let's swim the arms all the way up and overhead. And now as you exhale, drop the left fingertips to the right knee and the right hand behind you. Now let's actually keep our gaze forward here at first. So as you look forward, fingertips are on the floor behind you. Begin to peel the right shoulder blade back. So we want to feel that movement coming from the upper part of the body here. Keep your gaze forward for now. One more breath. Good, and now allow your gaze to follow back behind you. Try to stay sitting up tall, so what we want to avoid here is maybe leaning far back and doing the twist from there. Instead, see if we can really focus it on the upper chest and shoulders here. Let's take just one more breath. Unwind, take the gaze forward, slowly unwind, come back through center. Let the hands just go ahead and rest on both of your knees. Close your eyes and just take a moment to notice from side to side if you feel any different. If that right side of the chest feels more open. And then either with the eyes open, or if you like, you can also keep them closed. Bring the left fingertips next to the left hip. And again, we're going to rotate the hand around backwards so that the left thumb is facing to the left. And lean until you can get that left palm on the floor. As we inhale, swim the right arm all the way up and over as you lean into that left hand. As we exhale, drop the right fingertips down, drop the right ear towards the right shoulder. Inhale, up and over. Exhale, fingers down, drop the right ear towards the right shoulder. One more time, inhale, bring that right arm all the way up and over. And as you exhale, dropping those right fingertips down, dropping the weight of the head towards the right shoulder, and just pausing there and seeing if to make this feel a little bit more intense, if it's not too intense already, imagine dialing your left thumb back and just really feel that nice opening in the pecs in the front of the chest on that left side. Let the weight of the head be heavy. And taking just a few more breaths here. Good. Lift the head, swim the arms all the way back up and overhead. As you exhale, bring the right hand to the left knee, left hand behind you this time. Sit up nice and tall, keep your gaze forward, and begin to see if you can just feel again that left shoulder blade now gliding towards the spine. Maybe feeling the right shoulder blade moving forward and away from the left. See if you can keep your gaze forward for maybe another breath. And then turn your gaze back behind you. And staying nice and tall and just deepening in the pose when it feels right. Slowly unwind, bringing the hands to the knees, close the eyes. Notice how everything's feeling. Good, and then blinking open the eyes. And we're gonna come to laying back down on our bellies again. For one of my favorite ways to open the chest. You will need one block for this one. So go ahead and find your way to lying down and grab hold of your block. All right, so I think I like my block at the shortest possible way, but maybe you can play around with that on your own. And what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna start with the block more towards the back of your head. I'm gonna have you lay on your left temple with more of the block back behind you. And then bring your arms out to a goalpost shape. And take just a moment there. See if you can relax your left shoulder head down towards the mat. And then walk your feet together. Walk your knees together. And put a bend in just your right knee. Point the toes up towards the ceiling. And now we're going to slide our right fingertips right underneath our right shoulder and begin to roll over onto our left side and stacking that right foot behind your left leg. Now that block should be pretty comfortable underneath your head there. And if it's not, you can certainly remove it, but this takes a strain out of the neck when we do this twist, so I think it's a nice variation. You can keep your right fingertips down on the floor if you want, or if you want a little bit more, wrap that right hand behind your back. And then just close the eyes. We've got about 10 breaths in this one. This one's really nice. If it's too intense, just go ahead and come out of it just a little bit. And with each breath, maybe imagine softening a little bit more. Really relaxing into this one. About halfway there. Let's take one more breath here. Slowly, carefully unwind, bring that right hand back, roll back onto your belly, move the block aside for just a moment, and lay down on your left cheek and just let both arms completely relax. Just notice if one shoulder's closer to the mat than the other. And then lift the head. Let's just place that block again underneath our right temple with the majority of the block back behind us. Bring the arms out to that goalpost shape. Walk the feet together, walk the knees together, and put a bend in just your left knee. Now take your left fingertips under your left shoulder and let's rock over to our right side, dropping now that left foot back behind you. Just making sure your head's comfortable, so adjusting as you need to. Relaxing your right shoulder down. And if you have the space, feel free to now wrap your left arm behind your back. And remember, we've got about 10 breaths here, so really relaxing into this. Maybe closing the eyes and seeing if you can even deepen the breath. Maybe feeling more space open up as we remain in the pose a little longer. We've got about 5 more breaths here. See if you can lift the left shoulder up a little bit more. Relax the right shoulder down just a little bit more. Last breath here. And slowly unwind the left arm. Carefully roll back onto your bellies. Slide the block away. Rest down on your left temple and cheek. And just again, notice how everything's feeling. Slide the hands underneath the shoulders, and we're going to come to lying on our back in a preparatory pose for Shavasana, or you can actually even take Shavasana in this one. We're going to need both of our blocks, and we're going to take this so that the first block is kind of right at the bottommost portion of your ribs. So more towards the upper back here, the mid to upper back, and lie down over it. It's the long way so that you have the most amount of support. Our second block is going to go the tallest way for most of us, probably right underneath our heads. So take that second block, place it underneath your head. If it's not comfortable here, in place of this first block, you could roll up a blanket and place that underneath. But take the arms out to the sides, and you're probably going to feel maybe a little bit of fatigue in the shoulders and the chest just from all of that opening that we did. So see if you can just relax into that. So we can reinforce all of the work that we did and just allow the body to remain nice and heavy and relaxed here over the blocks. Take about 10 breaths here, and then I'll guide you into Shavasana. Keeping the eyes closed. Maybe even really sensing that sensation of the diaphragm coming down and out from underneath the ribs as we draw the breath in. And noticing that feeling of nestling back up as we release the breath back out. The arms get a little heavier, but the shoulders completely relax. Feeling really relaxed and really comfortable, feel free to stay right where you are. If it's a little bit intense for you, go ahead and remove the blocks and come down to lying flat on your back in Shavasana. I'm going to stay propped up here. It feels really good to me to have this opening. So just taking a few moments to settle in. Let the weight of the body be heavy. Beginning to notice any tension that's remaining in your face, relaxing between the eyes and relaxing the jaw. relax in the hips. Relaxing down through the legs and the feet. Let's take one more deep breath here in through the nose. Exhale, let it go. Enjoying these final few minutes here of rest. Slowly begin to bring some subtle movement back. Moving the fingers and the toes, the wrists and the ankles, and maybe even turning the head from side to side. And from wherever you took Shavasana, carefully start to make your way up to a seated position. And taking your time, closing the eyes, and bringing the hands to the heart. Namaste.